The 2026 General Assembly is getting acquainted with their new spaces due to ongoing and now very visible renovations happening at the state capitol. Everything has moved over to a temporary set of chambers. In the absence of galleries, viewing areas have been arranged in some committee rooms in the Capitol Annex. Access to the chambers themselves is highly restricted. Frankfort regulars likely noticed this week restricted parking signs and barriers in some parts of the annex.
It's going to be a change. It is certainly not the grand building that we're used to meeting in. I continue to remind our members that the work that goes on in here is just as important. And so we're going to have to, find inspiration in the work we do as opposed to the building we serve in.
Several lawmakers say that Kentucky State Patrol recommended increased security, especially after the assassination of Minnesota's House Speaker last year. Estimates suggest session will be held there for the next few years, possibly through 2030. So let's break into at least some concerns here before we go into the human element of this, because I think everybody all agrees that it felt weird this week, but we're going to have to try and get used to it. There were some concerns shared by House Democrats on day one about access to that space, especially where protesters may gather and so on. Do you think those current concerns have been adequately addressed?
I still have some concerns about it. The reason that we were concerned, the rules changed, which were ultimately adopted, changes the definition of the House chambers, which is understandable. We're in different House chambers. And by changing those definitions, they were a little unclear about where protesters would be able to make their voices heard. Protesters, as well as general members of the public, concerned citizens, but making sure that people do have a chance to use their voices in a meaningful way, while also knowing that we are in a very different space.
Senator Bledsoe, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly not ideal. I mean, I had Lexington Christian Academy and Boyle County, both won state championships, and the coach at Boyle County texted me and said, the boys can't wait to come, and I can't have them. And it's the first time I've had them there before. They were a phenomenal team, and I was just, that's the part that I really hate, is having access for kids, access for pages, for general public members who may have only come to Frankfort once or twice, and not getting to be in the old chambers. So it's not ideal. That being said, you can only watch from above, so you were never really granted access to the floor. So in some ways, there are cameras everywhere. You're going to have more access, or maybe at least more visibility than you may have had in the old ones, but it's not great. We're going to have to work, I think, extra hard to be transparent, extra hard to be accessible in the annex, and it's just going to take time to, it's kind of the short-term loss for long-term gain of getting the chambers back to where they need to be.
And just to clarify something you mentioned there, because this is a question I've had myself, will there be any guests allowed on the floor at any point in the session in either chambers? No?
No.
So what does that do for, I guess, the flow of show? Typically there are some days in session where there's not a lot happening in terms of business, but there's a lot of pageantry of sorts, different guests that are there, or folks being recognized. What does that do for how things typically flow?
Well, that was another one of the rules changes, was the communications with the body was shortened from a 30-minute maximum to a 15-minute maximum, largely because they don't expect to have as many people needing to speak along those lines. It is. I was able to bring some people in last session for memorial citations and recognition, and as well as having pages and giving kids the chance to come and be on the floor. So it's a very different thing, and I think we've got to continue to get creative on how we can help people feel like they can be involved in their state government, which they absolutely should be.
Some more you want to add to that?
I think it's going to shorten the time for sure. I mean, one of the things that people ask, and was my biggest surprise when I moved over to the Senate coming from the council, was how much time we spent doing memorials, citations, resolutions. In the Senate, we have a longer time for that than the House does. Our rules are different, and so that took up a big chunk. So in some ways, we're going to be more efficient. I think you'll see us get in and out pretty quickly and do less maybe ceremonial things and more time hopefully on policy and legislation, which could be a benefit. But you do lose those personal touches, which you'll see probably more things out in the annex or press conferences out in the hallways talking about resolutions that are important. It's going to look different.
I'll admit, journalists that are on some hard deadlines will appreciate some shorter days on the floor, but certainly everybody's said, that there is something that we're losing here a little bit. I think that the lobby space between the two chambers has been referred to by some as a Hampton Inn kind of lobby. It has this unique sort of new construction smell to it. It's going to be an adjustment. Thank you both for your insight. We'll be right back.